Good evening, all. You are slowly coming into the session.
Hi, everyone.
Happy Wednesday. I'm just going to try and put Shireen in the spotlight, which you should see.
Terrifying.
Can you see yourself now?
Yeah.
So I hope we're all really good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're trialing a new time. So we used to do 7 p.m. We're trialing 8 just because people have busy lives and we think this might be a more suitable get-together. And we have the lovely Shireen Timmis from Project Equine, who has been with us before. She's kind of like she's a vibe ambassador, but a bit like our guru in all things mental health, psychology, keeping us motivated when we feel like we really don't want to. So we're going to have a little bit of an informal chat, and then at the end, guys, there'll be an opportunity for you to ask Shireen all your questions. So welcome, Shireen. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I have a vet bill in, so I can't afford heating anymore. No. So my ears are cold.
And you only just got the boiler fixed.
I just got the boiler fixed. Just can't afford the energy anymore. So talking about that, it is now coming into dark, winter. All the happy times have gone. It's really hard for equestrians. It's not our favourite season. So yeah, let's talk about that. What are your thoughts, feelings, and how can we stay motivated in this time?
You know me, I hate winter. It is not my jam. I don't do it. I don't do well in the cold. So I've kind of this year more than anything, but it kind of started last year. I've decided that we're nailing it. And I'm going to carry everyone with me, and we are going to have a good winter. We're going to enjoy it. We might not enjoy it, but we're going to try and enjoy it, and that's the important thing. So yeah, well, obviously it's not fun. It's dark all the time. Most of us, particularly if you're doing a full-time job, you see the horses in the dark both ends of the day. The only time you see them in the daylight is at the weekend if you're lucky. And I mean, like for me, I leave the house and it's dark. I come home and it's dark, and it's rubbish. Nobody enjoys it. And then we've got the cold to take into consideration as well. Like, everything freezes, nothing's fun, and we just get into this pit of ugh. And winter is definitely the time I would say most of us question why or whether or not we should do this sport, because it's not fun. It's not great. And the other thing is we don't have competitions either. Obviously some of us are out doing show jumping or dressage, looking at you, Shelley.
Not for me. I'm trying to resist this, everybody. I've been told I've got to do show jumping and dressage, and it's just kind of
maybe just a little bit, just a tiny bit.
We'll negotiate.
We'll talk about it later. But yeah, so we don't have eventing over the winter, which is what most of us live for. And it's hard. It's hard to keep going when you've not got the season and you've not got your competition aims in sight. And I mean, that kind of actually ties into when we do goal setting, and when I do a goal setting session, we go through it and I make everyone so we have a big goal, and then, oh, you've appeared, Shelley. I was just talking to myself. This is nice. This is better.
Thought that might be a bit better. I'm just trying to work on technology, but yeah, there you go.
Anyway, so yeah, we have a big goal, and then I make you break it down into like a medium-term goal and then a short-term goal, because if we just have one goal and it's in the far distant future, be it a year, be it 6 months, be it 4 years, it's hard because it seems unattainable because it's so far away. And as humans, we don't actually really have that great a concept of time. We are very good at seeing things in the immediate and sort of immediate present. So what's happening right, or immediate future, sorry. So present and immediate, and really immediate future. So we're very, very good at seeing stuff that's happening to us now, and sort of the end of the week kind of thing. Maybe a month. It depends on a lot of external variables and internal variables as well, because some people are better at it than others. But yeah, it's something that we have to break down and set ourselves clear aims, otherwise we just lose all motivation. And then you start to take into consideration stuff like winter and not really wanting to be outside, not really wanting to do what we enjoy because it's not pleasant weather. And I mean, if it's not cold, it's usually raining, and if it's not raining, it's usually windy. And it's kind of like you go out and you get blown away, and your horse is a bit of a special case, and it's not very fun. So it is important to find different ways to keep those little motivations. And I mean, for me, I spent a solid, how long was it, Shelley, at Aylesford? Was it about 15 minutes, 20 minutes whittering on, like, these are the things I love about winter. I have decided.
Yeah, you was quite good. Yeah, with the self-taught, he was kind of like, right, this is what we're gonna turn it into a positive, because winter's not fun. And I mean, at the minute, my main concern is, how the monkeys am I going to exercise and keep fit 2 horses and a full-time job?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Particularly, I think as well, we start to see stuff like, obviously I'm pretty blessed, I've got floodlights, but people don't have arenas, people don't have floodlights, and it just becomes harder and harder and harder. So it's I think the key thing with winter is understanding your limits and then being kind to yourself about your limits. Because we go into winter and I can sit here and I can tell you, okay, you're going to have this goal or that goal or whatever. And here's how we break it down. Here's how you achieve it. Yeah, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you're the only one who knows that that's achievable or whether or not that's achievable. So you can come into winter and be like, yeah, I want to do this. But then anything could go wrong, or you could be putting too much pressure on yourself. So like 2 horses around a full-time job is insane. And like, I mean, it's hard enough for me with 1 horse in work and 1 horse, I don't even really know what he is, but 1 horse part lawnmower.
Ornament.
Yeah, an expensive ornament. And then obviously around the business and everything. So I can only imagine what it is to have 2 in work around a full-time job.
So what would you kind of say then? Would you say like not be so worried about getting this? Because I'm very hard on myself, and I think, I've got to have this schedule. And
I think a schedule helps. And like, how I feel about schedules. I love a schedule. I'm here for a schedule. But at the same time, like I've said since the very beginning, particularly with you, you have to have a degree of flexibility, because if you keep it rigid, then you're just going to get demotivated and demoralized and disillusioned, really, because life isn't rigid, and horses certainly aren't. Horses are a pain in the absolute bum. Like, they are, nothing is plain sailing. You can aim for one thing and then they're doing something different, completely different. So it is allowing for that degree of flexibility, but at the same time being kind to yourself, because and that's the other thing that comes into winter. We're trying to do things on the same level that we were in summer when the weather is warmer. I mean, if you're broken like me, or old, or whatever, if you're any form of ailment, you're going to feel it in the winter because it's cold. Then you've got to take into consideration your horses are probably living in, which they most likely weren't over the summer, so that's more work. Everything's cold and wet and muddy, that's more work, because you've got to drag them in and out of the field, and you've got to hose down legs or whatever if you're going to ride. And so there's more to do. And I think we kind of have this expectation that we're going to go into winter, we've got these clear goals, it's going to be similar to summer, but it's not. And we have to start taking it as a different season, and then being kind to ourselves when we fail, because there is nothing worse than, particularly if you've been inside in an office all day, going outside into the cold and then trying to do something, because your body reacts to it and it stiffens up, and then we get grumpy and we get ill, and we're more likely to get ill in winter as well. So you do have to be kind to yourself, and you've got to be forgiving in that you're probably not going to be on your A game. But my job is to get you to be on your A game, or to keep you in the saddle, give you things that motivate you to actually stay in the saddle and to want to go out when it's like, horizontal rain and everything's frozen.
Yeah, I think some of my worry as well is, particularly I would say with Reg, who's been in hard work this year, is that I kind of think, if I don't keep him in work, that's all that hard work I've done all year.
Like
gone. Which I know that's not probably, like, Reg is not going to wake up tomorrow and go, I'm now unfit and I can't do anything anymore. But it's just, yeah, I think it's just kind of getting in your head, isn't it, that it's okay to, maybe I was doing 5 days a week exercise, 3 days is fine in winter. Because I don't have floodlights, I don't necessarily have the facilities that
I would not want to be riding in your arena in the winter.
Can you imagine?
Honestly.
Everest, like that.
I struggled at the end of summer teaching it, let alone in the depths of winter. I'm going to need more layers.
Exactly. So and I don't want to walk up there because it's quite a walk from my yard as well to keep exercising ponies. So I think you just got to be a little bit like easier on yourself, haven't you? And the vet that recently came out, and I just made a comment to her saying, oh, I've got to keep 2 horses in work, and she just went, it's a hobby, don't make it a chore.
She is exactly right. Sorry, I just got cramp. That's how old and cold I am. But yeah, no, exactly that. And the majority of us do this for fun. Like, we enjoy this. We can't. Social media is a curse in a way, in that we are all following top athletes in our sport. Every single one of us, because we're inspired by them. And that's fine. That's okay. We should be inspired by them. They are inspirational people. They're inspiring. That's fine. But we can't expect to be at the same level of work as them, because, I mean, for one, they have staff. But for two as well, this is what most of us do for fun. I mean, obviously it's my job, but this is what we do for fun. We don't actually have to be out there day in, day out. We don't have to be there 7 days a week. We don't have to keep horses on a schedule to go to a 5-star event next season. We don't need to do that. So we don't need to be pushing ourselves to that standard. But I mean, obviously, if you want to push yourself to that standard, there's nothing wrong with it. Just make sure it's achievable and make sure you're very clear about it and you've got a clear path to being able to do that. But it is rare that, in fact, I don't know of anyone who has made it to high level riding without staff, without at least one groom. Like, it's not doable. I mean, even like me going away to competitions or even schooling, I like drag you or other people along with me. Like, it's you need help, and having that is what makes it easier. So when we're trying to do it on our own, it's tough and it's hard slog, and having people around you motivates you as well, so that's handy. But for stuff like reg in particular, I would say have a minimum sort of that you want to work in, and so have a minimum aim per week. So if it's 3 sessions a week or something like that, and have it as, you know, I want to do 1 hack or 2 hacks because the weekends are freer. So, you know, 1 hack, 1 arena hire at the weekend or whatever. And then something little in the week just to keep him ticking over. But the thing is as well, we can, again, for me, oh, that was fun. Sorry.
Tells you.
Yeah, so I know what my limits are this week. I know that if I get up at like 4 in the morning and then I'm at work until 10 at night, I'm not going to have a great time about it. So instead of doing that, I'm like, no, okay, they can have a week off. They're not going to die if they have a week off. They will be fine. So know your limits, build that awareness, sit down and honestly think, can I do this? And when you're sat down in the warm and you're like, yeah, I think if I'm clever with my time, if you have the thought, I think if I'm clever with my time, no, don't do it.
I had the same feeling in the morning. I thought, actually, it's getting light early, so I can get up at 5 o'clock and I can ride before work. And then the reality of that, when you're trying to get up and ride before work,
easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all good. Like,
though, with the clocks going back, it's been really nice to be at the yard at like 7 a.m. and it'd be like, it's felt almost like spring. Now it's, what time is it? 20 past 8 and it's pitch black outside.
Yeah. Whereas in summer we could still be hacking by now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you're saying in that you do make, like, if we sit now and go, oh, actually, Shireen, yeah, I could get up in the morning because I'm nice and warm now and I'm all kind of chilled. The reality of trying to get my butt out of bed that early, and not just get myself out of bed, but get yourself organised to ride, it's not achievable all the time, is it? So
no, it really isn't, because we're only human, we're not robots. Like, we don't set an alarm and go, right, I will be up, and then that's it, you wake up. I mean, some people do, and I'm very jealous of those people, because I am not even close to one of them. I have 10 alarms to get me out of bed in the morning. I'm not even joking. I will put a screenshot of it on my stories later. It's not really. But yeah, you know, we're not robots. It is the way it is, unfortunately. But one thing I will say, if you are planning to get out of bed early, organise things. So literally have everything ready. So all you have to do is roll out of bed, boil the kettle, put the kettle water in your thermos if you take a thermos, and roll out. Because I mean, extra minutes in bed, that's what we're here for. That's the best advice I can give you. Take every extra minute in bed that you can. But I mean, I've got it down to a T. I can wake up and be out of the house in 10 minutes. It's a skill set.
That's very, I mean, yeah, I can, but I will literally look like horrendous and just not ready to get me ready, dressed to ride and everything else. It's a big ask in the morning. So I think realistically, I'd love to. Realistically, I don't think that's possible.
Yeah. And it's not viable, and that's okay.
It's hard to accept. It's hard to kind of accept a slower way of life in winter as well, when you've been running at 1,000,000 miles an hour in summer. And as much as you like it, like I remember going on social media going, I can't wait, I've got 2 weeks off riding. Ooh, everything's amazing. And then that actually, you kind of think, I have no life.
You were so happy for the first few days though. And then I think reality hit.
And I was like, I can just chill and the boys can just go out in the field. And then reality of like, oh my goodness, I actually have nothing else in my life to do. And that's my choice. But then I was like, oh, I can't wait for them to be back in. And now you tend to feel like, I feel like I'm wishing my life away, because I'm going, I can't wait for March. I can't wait for the event season to be back on. So yeah, we've got to be kinder.
I'm excited for January because it means that we are halfway through. The end is in sight.
It is. And there's some, if you want to do some competitions, there is some over winter, isn't there?
Yeah, and I mean, it's not eventing, is it? And that's where we start to get demotivated, because that's our jam. I mean, if you're a show jumper, you're fine, or dressage, you're largely fine. And there are plenty of things to aim for, and there are big things to aim for. And I think, you know my opinion on it, but I certainly think that as eventers, we should be focusing on what we're not great at over winter, whether it's show jumping or dressage or both, or going out, being away from other horses. Like for me, I'll be training away from home a lot, because that's our issue. So we have this time period and we come into it with the wrong mindset, and I think that's what the biggest problem is. We have this period of time where we can take a step back and we can reassess where we're going to go, we can reassess next season, and we can build, and we start to lay the foundations, and we need to start seeing winter for what it is, which is the foundations of our season. And we see it as something to get through. We've both just done that. It is something to get through, because it's horrible. Nobody enjoys winter, but it is a foundation, and laying the foundations is really, really easy. So that's the hardest bit.
I kind of like that. That's a positive spin on let's look at laying some foundation for next year.
Thank you.
I like it. So what would you say then is what would be like a good winter schedule?
It depends what you want rain for.
Yeah, true.
It's completely individual, but I mean, and again, it depends what your goals are. So if you want to aim for something next season, then we build back from that. If you want to aim for something later on next season, then we build back from that. If you want to aim for something right now, if you've got like December competitions or like, you know, big championships in December, January time, then we build from that. But it is so important to have that break. It's absolutely, I can't think of the word, my words have gone. This is great. We're at the end of a long day, guys, I'm sorry. But it is completely invaluable to have that break, because it works as a reset, not just for you, but for your horses as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think the horses need the break, don't they? if they've been particularly running at 1,000,000 miles an hour as well,
they
benefit from just having a bit of downtime.
Yeah, just to chill out and kind of let it all go in. But I mean, like, we need that time to take a step back, to lay off the gas for a little bit, because you can't maintain 1,000,000 miles an hour for X amount of hours. Like, you can only cope with it for so long. You can only do it physically, mentally. It's impossible to continue to do. And it will take its toll on you, and you can put it away and you can keep trying, and yeah, plenty of people do, but you will hit a burnout at some point. And my job as a coach is to stop people hitting that burnout. Your job as a rider is to, and as a human, is to build that awareness of what your burnout is. So again, for me, if I was trying to ride this week, I'd be pushing towards a burnout, and it's taken me far too many years for someone of my age. It has taken me probably about 10 years to build awareness of that, because I would just push and push and push until I hit burnout, and then be like, well, I'll take a few weeks off, it's fine. But you can't do that. It's not healthy.
Yeah. Do you think that's quite common as equestrians, that we do push ourselves to the limit? And you noted before in regards to perfectionism, do you think I think that's quite common in the equestrian world as well. We are a little bit, whether it's just how you have your horse's bed. We've all got an element of perfectionism, and when that doesn't go to plan, it's how do we cope when things go wrong, because they do. And I particularly personally find it ridiculously hard when it doesn't go to, I'm getting better, but when it doesn't go to the schedule that's listed down. Is there any kind of ways we can look at handling that? Yeah,
first of all, be kind to yourself, accept the fact that, and I will say it till I'm blue in the face, we're not robots, we're people. We're never going to do it right. And not only are we people, we are people who work with horses, who are never going to do it right, because it's not like riding a bike. If we do it wrong, it's on us. If it goes wrong, it's probably on us. But also, the horse has a brain too, so the horse can literally be like, no, do you know what, I'm having an off day today, because they're not robots. And it's, be kind to yourselves, be kind to your animals. We're all kind to our animals, but mostly I imagine everyone here is very kind to their animals. But we're rarely kind to ourselves. It's like the whole thing of, I mean, you've had a full vet workup today and chiropractor and all of that. When did you last see a physio?
Never seen a physio, ever. That's very true. That's very true. I've literally had full workup on both boys for the last 2 days, and I have to take my time to straighten up. My back hurts.
Exactly. Like, we always put our horses first, which isn't a problem, but we do need to look to ourselves as riders, and building awareness of that perfectionism, and that things aren't always going to go to plan. And when they don't go to plan, it's about how you react, and that comes from your mindset. So if things don't go to plan, a lot of the time, particularly if you've either got quite a few strong perfectionist traits, or you are just like a full-blown perfectionist, it causes a spiral, and it causes a downward spiral, usually into panic and anxiety, because the perfection is kind of like a safety net. And it sort of creates this, okay, well, I need this to go to plan so that I can perform at my best. And it can come from silly things, small things such as forgetting a whip. Bigger things like forgetting your saddle doesn't help. But forgetting a whip at a competition, or something that seems quite small, can create quite a large spiral if you're not aware of what you're creating around yourself. So you need to learn to be not content. What's the word I want? Like, strong in your training. Can't think of the word again, sorry guys. But you need to learn, have faith. That's what I want. You need to learn to have faith in your training, because if you're going to a competition, or if you're doing something, you have worked hard to get to where you are. Without a shadow of a doubt, you have worked hard to get to where you are, and that goes for everyone who's in this talk, everyone who sees this. Wherever you are, you will have worked hard to get there. And it's having faith in that journey and that training. that when things don't go to plan, because inevitably they won't go to plan, you can take a step back, which is the most important thing. And it is another thing that I will say till I'm blue in the face. Take a step back and assess the situation. Does it matter that you've forgotten your whip? If it does matter, what can you do to either get a new whip, borrow a whip, or, you know, have that? So if you need a whip to ride or whatever, if you need, say it's a saddle's easier. You need a saddle to ride. So what can you do to get a saddle to you now? Can you call someone? Can you have someone bring it? Or do you need to ask someone? Or is it not viable to get that to you? Is this something that you need to take a step back from and go, okay, well, I don't have it. I have to go home because there is no way of me getting around this safely. And that's another thing, because like you build disappointment in that as well. So I was supposed to do a 100 trial on Saturday. Yeah, this weekend. And I didn't end up doing it for various reasons. And that obviously created a lot of disappointment in me because I was really looking forward to it. But I took a step back and I kind of went, yeah, no, okay, I can see why this isn't going to be a viable option for us at this time. And so I'm taking the time to, well, I'm not because I've got a week off, but I will be taking the time to build them up and, you know, build the foundation right and take the right steps and make sure that that doesn't happen next time. So if it was a saddle or a whip, I would write a checklist. But there are things that are out of our control, and it is understanding that when those things that are out of our control happen, that it's not on us. The only thing we can control is how we react to it. And so giving that gives you a lot more, accepting that gives you a lot more power over any situation, because you can 100% control how you react to it. You know, like getting stuck in traffic, you can decide whether you overtake, you sit behind them, you yell at them, whatever. That is up to you. That is completely on you what you do. And taking that power back gives you a lot more strength and control, and it helps with a lot of anxiety towards situations like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think something I've learned as well is that it's okay to feel disappointment. It's a valid emotion to feel disappointed, to feel upset, because we see a lot of things on social media that paints a pretty picture of a perfect world, and that's not what it is it? Life's not like that.
No, not at all.
But I think you've always been quite keen with me to say, yeah, absolutely, you feel that disappointment, you feel that upset, but then we're gonna move on, and we're gonna look at ways that we can maybe do it better next time, or ways to improve it. And I think that's key as well, that it's okay. Like everybody's, we're not perfect, are we? No, everybody will have some elements of problems.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, that's a really key thing that you just said. It is so important to feel the negative emotions and accept them, and they are valid, because I mean, a lot of us will bury them down, or we'll try and move past it, or people will tell us that, you know, leave it alone because it's negative. And there is a time to leave it alone, because you can't feel your feelings all the time. Sometimes we've got a job to do and we've got to get through it. But 99% of the time, we need to feel those emotions and we need to accept it, because if you bury it down, it will come back up, and it will come back up when you least want it to come back up. So it is so important to accept those emotions and to feel them, and to then, you know, use them as a foundation, use them as a building block. Everything is a learning exercise, so take it.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes you feel better after a good cry, and then you can go, right, now we're going to move on.
Now we can go.
Cried in my trailer, now I'm going to move on. I've been there this season, definitely. No, that's really, really interesting. I think it's just, like you say, it's putting a positive spin on how we can make winter work for us. And like, if we don't work 5 days a week, it doesn't really matter, does it? If I don't work Moses 3 days a week, it doesn't really matter. He's a baby, and it doesn't. And
it is having that awareness and being kind to yourself, because I'm not going to sit here and say, right, you know, here is a roadmap to being able to work and do everything that you want to do 5 days a week, you know, and get it all done, because I can't do that. It's impossible. Sorry, I am magic, but I'm not that magic. But you can build awareness of yourself and build goals and create a clear path. And by being kind to yourself, you know, you will win a lot more over the winter. Go on.
Yeah, and goal setting as well. So we talk about certain goals like, oh, my amazing goal for next year. I'd love to get to Bicton. I just want a trot up picture, but anyway, that's mine. But your goals can be tiny, can't they? They can be they don't have to be. Again, social media fills you with these massive goals that you've got to achieve. It could be literally just doing something very simple.
Could be getting on your horse.
Yeah.
And that can be, to some people, that can be a huge goal. And that, I mean, it is a huge goal. Like, if that's whatever you dream you can achieve, you've just got to build a roadmap to it. The rest is just logistics.
I like it. Dream it and achieve it.
Do we have, can I see questions? Because I can't remember how I did it last time.
I can. So if anybody's got any questions, you can put it in the chat box. If you want to pop your name in the chat box and you want to have a direct chat, we can do that as well. I can unmute you for your question. So does anybody else out there have any wonderful questions?
Oh, I've just found the chat box.
Yeah, mine's on this. I put mine on this side. There's nothing in it. Nobody's chatting. That's a beautiful picture of you and your boys. Let's just come on.
That was Imogen from Luna Photography.
Oh, you've got some gorgeous photos.
No, there's one here. There's supposed to be more around it, but they fell off the wall. So that's why my head's here.
So if anybody's got any questions, anything in regards to winter, any questions at all in regards to mindset, whatever, we'll try our best to.
That's my dirty hand. Sorry, I've come straight from work, so you get very grubby hands right on the screen.
To answer them. Okay, we've got. Can you see them now, Shireen?
Yeah, I can see them. I've got it up.
So we've got a first question in. So do you have any tips for realistic mindset goal setting when coming back from a major injury? That's a good question.
Who's coming back from the injury, you or the horse?
It's Kay Jones Equestrian.
Thank you, mate.
Major knee surgery.
That's a hard one. How far into your rehab are you? 6 weeks. Okay. It's hard. It's really hard. Find the little things to keep yourself motivated, and stay on track with what your doctors and your surgeons are saying. The hardest part is when you start to feel okay, and I am such a hypocrite for saying this, as everyone who knows me and sees this will say, but the hardest part is when you start to feel good and you want to do stuff, not doing too much. So take it literally day by day. If you need to take it hour by hour, take it hour by hour, and set yourself tiny wins. So when I say a tiny win, I mean, so I can't say too much because I don't know anything about your situation. But if it is something like going to your physio appointment, walking so many steps when you're allowed to put weight bear, or even weight bearing in itself, or if it's going to the fridge unaided, tiny wins. I mean, some of them will seem quite big to you quite right now, but small things that are achievable, set them for yourself, and then literally celebrate them like you have won the Olympics. And I am not kidding. If you have to sit down in a chair and cheer at yourself, you're going to look like a lunatic, but do it. And take those moments, because that's what's going to get you through. Because it is hard slog and it's horrible, and it's not enjoyable, but again, it's a foundation, and if you do it right, then you'll be okay. If you try to do too much too soon, you'll end up like me, or worse than me, and you will pay for it for a long time, and it's not worth it. So take it steady, listen to your doctors. If you want to chat, drop me a message as well. But yeah, celebrate the little wins. Everything small that you can find, and honestly, the smaller the better, but everything small, build awareness of it and celebrate it like you've won the Olympics. I probably don't open a bottle of champagne every time you manage something, but because that could end quite catastrophically.
It could be messy.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. It's the best time to be off as well.
Yeah, that's a positive. It's winter.
Yeah, it's winter. You can stay inside in the warm whilst the rest of us. Good. That's good planning. That's good pre-planning.
I think we do that as equestrians, don't we? With injuries, we can suffer all season, and then we go, right, we're going to sort that out in October when it's winter, and we can we
I
can
mean,
say
I'm
no
still
more.
hobbling around with a fractured foot that I've not been an x-rayed, so I'm not really the best person to take advice from on that, but I can tell you how to do it. Just don't do what I do.
You need to take your own advice.
I know, we are. Everyone's aware that I'm bad at that. Oh God, ow. Drink more water, kids, otherwise, again, you end up like me.
No, that's good. Thank you very much for your question. Hope that you get through winter. So Grace has put, any tips for stopping worrying over winter? Big worry for me is stressy horse and gastric ulcers. I'm here for this, Grace, because my horse has just done a full workup and we're just about to go through ulcer treatment. I think I have PTSD from last winter. Yeah.
I think we all do.
PTSD from owning thoroughbreds is what I've got. So that's an interesting one. So yeah, the ulcer journey, very common in horses, I'm told.
Yeah, so I think the stats are something like 90% of all thoroughbreds have ulcers. Like, it's crazy. I think it's 90%, and then it's like 50% of all other horses, and like there's variations when it comes to working. That's something different. I won't get bogged down in that. I'm not a vet, so I can't actually give you too much advice, but I can tell you what I do, because I have two, A, ulcer prone, and B, horses that have had both severe ulcers, and it's an ongoing thing. I quite like Polygon, the liquid and the treat. So we use the treats for, I was talking to Shelley about this today actually, we use the treats for like anxiety situations. So actually, to be honest, for us, when the horses are separate, they will get, I feed it in a bowl. I don't hand feed treats, but do it however you want. They'll get a bit of Polygon either liquid in the feed, or they'll just get a quick treat before they go out, because that's quite stressful for them. And when we were on a livery yard, when things were going out, they would have, because obviously I would feed in the night, and then people would come down at 5:30 in the morning, put everything out, and 2 x-ray sources seeing everything go out on a whole yard, or half of the yard go out, would get a bit stressy. I would give them the Polygon in the night before as well. That's a very useful one. Management is key more than anything. I will answer that question in a minute. I need to close the chat because I'm just going to read them. Yeah, management is key. Building awareness of it. I used to feed, so I feed Polygon now instead of feeding sulfur-coat powder over winter, because that's what I used to do, but sulfur-coat powder is quite expensive, and Polygon's a lot cheaper. Chaff half an hour before, like Shelley and I were talking about. I actually feed chaff and a very tiny amount of ulcer kind, but by very tiny amount I mean like half a handful, and I feed it wet because it goes to jelly in their stomachs, but it takes a certain amount of time to go to jelly in their stomachs. That's kind of part of it, because it creates like an extra lining, which I think Polygon does as well. But yeah, so they have a pre-workout. I feed stuff like pink powder. I don't feed Gastriaid because they don't like it, and I've not found anything really that finds it that palatable, and I find pink powder just works a little bit better. But not a scientist, I'm a scientist, not a nutritionist or a vet. So again, literally just what I do. And I always make sure they have ad-lib, they're on haylage, but they have ad-lib forage constantly. And that's been the biggest game changer for me. So when I was on a livery yard, they were out, they get like 12 hours turn out a day. They still do, between 10 and 12 hours turn out a day. And what I didn't realise was that obviously they're in a field that got quite muddy, because it's winter, things get muddy in winter. And they were running out of hay in the field, and they were having to work harder for the grass because it's shorter, so it burns more calories to get, it's not as freely available. And I think that was quite a big point, or like causation issue for them, because now they've got more grass, and they don't need hay in the field anymore, but they have that constant streaming. They seem to be coping a lot better. Oh, another thing as well, grass changes, and like the nutrients of grass change throughout the season, so it will have a higher acidity and a higher sugar level throughout the year. Google it. because it will take me the better part of half an hour to walk through it in a very small amount of detail. But be super aware of the constituents of everything you feed. So haylage, hay, whatever you feed. The feeds that you feed, if they're starchy, if there's sugar in them, and as well building awareness of what your grass is doing. Yeah, I mean, you can do it if you want to do it full on. You can get soil samples and stuff like that. If you don't want to do it full on, just kind of have a basic awareness of what grass is doing at each time of year. So spring, it's obviously more sugary, and then same again, sort of when the heat starts to die, end of September, start of October, it starts to be more sugary, more acidic. I think it's more acidic, but it's certainly more sugary. And then again, with stuff to play like weather with frost and things like that, you start to see more sugars released in it. Google it, build an awareness of it, because knowing when that change is coming and how that might affect your horse, particularly if they're very, very ulcer prone, will help you a lot. Because you can, the problem with ulcers is they are hard and they're tricky, and it's not a very nice thing for the horse, but once you get a handle on it, it's very, very simple to deal with, and being proactive rather than reactive is far better. So yeah, there's I could talk for ages about ulcers.
We'll have to have another one on that, because I'm just, like I say, I'm just starting on that journey. So
it's a fun old journey.
It's a great vet bill. The drugs are so expensive anyway.
Are they? Yeah, mine all went through insurance. So
just under £500 for medication.
Oh yeah, you're on Gastrogard, aren't you?
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
again, where I can't afford heating.
Yeah, Pie had great for ulcers.
Yeah, lovely. Right, there's quite a few. We'll do another separate session on ulcers. There's another one coming from, I don't know, you can see it from Chloe.
Yeah, I've just seen that. I'm just reading it now.
Do you have any advice for enjoying riding again and motivation after setbacks such as lameness? Also dealing with the worry of my horse going lame again. I'm so nervous to push him. Yeah, definitely. How can you? Because that gets in your mind, doesn't it?
It does, and it's so hard to push through that. And you get to a point, and they take like half a lame step, and you're like, "Oh my god, this is it. We're right back there." If you rehabbed well, you should be okay. Take a lot of faith in your rehab. Take your vet out for a drink, probably with your own money, because you know, if he buys you around, it's probably with your money as well. But yeah, take faith in your rehab and you know what your vet's told you. And if your vet has told you that they are ready to ride, ready to work forward and ready to work at the level that you're working them at, put your faith in that and put your trust in that. It is a hard one, because it's a huge mental block to get through. So yeah, but you've got to put your faith in that and just take it really slowly. Try not to do too much too soon. Even if they're feeling really good, focusing on, you know, doing short, sweet sessions. And, you know, I would do a few of them if you're at a level of fitness. And always ending on a positive, not just for the horse, but for you as well. So you feel like you've achieved something, and then you start to, again, it's foundations, it's a ladder. You start to build back up to, oh, okay, no, I feel good here. And I think as well, accept that you are going to have down days, and you're going to have days where you're like the horse takes a couple of steps backwards, because same as us, you know, if you sprain your ankle, you'll go through rehab, you'll feel better, and then you'll start trying to do more work. Hello, Papa. Sorry, my dog's just joined in. You're going to have days where you feel better, and then the strength won't be there for any amount of reasons. So it is building that awareness and be prepared for steps back, but also put trust in what your professionals are saying around you. Yeah, assumably if it's a lameness issue, that possibly farrier, definitely physio as well. But yeah, it's hard. It's certainly not
a tough one. It's a tough one to get over that.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
The more time you get through it and they work fine, the more in your mind it becomes clearer. But yeah, I can imagine.
Which is why short and sweet sessions will help a lot, because you know that's more sessions under the belt that have been okay. and simple stuff as well.
Okay, so Katie says, similar to the one above, I missed my whole summer show season due to a broken ankle, still awaiting surgery but told to crack on, and I'm back 95% sound, but now I feel very much like I need to enjoy every minute of riding and horse ownership until I have this operation, and I have dread over the operation and being out of action again for 6 weeks plus. I've just got my second horse back from a traumatic loan home. Oh, yeah. Any tips for not getting bogged down with any of the negatives to try and enjoy it more? You've had a few negatives there, Chuck. So
no, that is tough. That is a tough old one. Take the pressure off. Start. You're putting that. What is that? The second sentence. You're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to enjoy every minute. And the more pressure you put on yourself to do that, the less you will. So kind of take yourself back to when you were a small child. And because that's why we started this. We did start it because at some point a small child in us went, I want a pony, or I like ponies, and it's spiraled from there.
it's gone out of control.
yeah. But take it back to that and find small things to enjoy. Sitting in the stable with your horse, probably not something to enjoy too much this time of year, but find the small things to enjoy, and take it really slowly, and again celebrate the small wins. And yeah, when's your next operation? Oh, you didn't say. But yeah, no, celebrate the small wins. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, and just enjoy this as like a no pressure period. So I wouldn't even set like a big aim or anything. I would, particularly if it's a short time, I would say have obviously little session goals and stuff to achieve in each session, and then celebrate those. But I would just take it, have a bit of fun. Do Gymkhana games if you want. Like, set stuff out in the arena and just play, and take it as a time to play rather than as a time to work towards something. And when you find the negatives, and you're sat there thinking about them, try to find something to learn from them. So it's not about spinning it to a positive, and turning it into a positive, because that's toxic positivity. The negatives are there for a reason, and they are the main reason is that so that we can learn and so that we can grow. So try and find that lesson and try and find something in that. I'm trying to think of something recently. I definitely said a good one to Shelley the other day, and I can't remember what it was.
I should remember. What did you say?
I don't know. I assume it was something at Aylesford, but I can't remember. But like, just try and find something in that to use as a lesson, whether or not it's okay, so I won't be doing that again, or anything like that. And then you start to find it's not about finding positive spin, it's about finding something to use as a growth opportunity. And as corny as that sounds, they are two very different things. You don't have to spin everything to be positive, you don't have to win everything, but we need to learn from everything, and we should take every opportunity to learn. So my advice in short is to think about the negatives and see what you can learn from them. And if you find that there's a lot of them, think about it, and think how you can use it as time to grow. So if you have to have 6 weeks off, think about what you can do to keep your brain active in those 6 weeks. Whether it's something like learning a language, or doing some online courses or something like that. If that's going to help you keep active, then do something like that. And then with regards to the riding that you're doing now, enjoy it, have fun. And I'm deadly serious. If you think you'll get fun from taking an egg and spoon out there and trotting up and down your arena or up your field, wherever, with an egg and spoon, then do it. But find something enjoyable to do.
And please take a picture and send it to us.
Also that, yeah. Tag us in it if you do that.
Tag us in that egg and spoon race, because I would be down for that. I'm down.
I wonder if we could get an online egg and spoon race going on. I wonder if that's
we could do You need to think of some things like we can do for the Vibe crew over winter. That's what you. That's
Yeah.
another. Not that you have got a
Okay.
full-time job and everything else, Shireen, and everything else you do.
So,
You need to do some. You need to keep us motivated. This is your
like
your talk of getting
literally
motivated
like
over
12
winter.
Sorry, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, online Gymkhana games, making a note of it, because I feel like we could have Vibe Tribe Gymkhana, and
I feel like we could literally be spread some joy this winter. It's very hard to sometimes, and it sounds daft, doesn't it? Sometimes find enjoyment in riding because you are focused on your goals and making it such a kind of thing that you've got to achieve. So yeah, just a bit of fun.
I am 1000% going to go set out some sort of Gymkhana thing. In my
I'm up for that.
My husband is going to kill me.
Grace has just mentioned about the ulcers, crazy amounts of pounds. Yeah, I'm just in that journey at the moment. We'll see.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we're going for an online egg and spoon race. Okay, I'm here for it.
Yes, I'm liking this. Gracie B, when you cannot get to your horse to ride very often, what's the easiest way to keep your confidence up and keep yourself motivated during winter? Yeah, because we take it for granted that we all can access our horses every day, and some people can't. That's a good point, Grace.
For me, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Honestly, I do end up going down a bit of a rabbit hole with YouTube, so maybe don't do that. You'll end up like me. But I find particularly, so was it last year? It was either last year or the year before. I was out for quite a long time because I was poorly, and then I hurt my back. Because guess why I hurt my back, guys? I came back too soon and tried to do too much. I was not ready, so don't do that. But yeah, so I was out for quite a long period of time, and I've kind of carried over a couple of things from that. And one is YouTube. So if I can't ride or whatever, or if there's something that I feel like I'm not processing very well in my lessons, I will find them on YouTube. Like I will watch people like Ross Cantor, Charlotte DJ is a really, really good one. Or like I will literally trawl their Instagram. But I will find one thing in particular. So what was the most recent one? I mean, my most recent one is Abby, but I love Abby, so that's Abby Lyle. If you don't follow her on Instagram, please go follow her. She will change your life. She's incredible. I love her to bits. Anyway, that aside, plug aside, she doesn't pay me. Find something that you want to work on and you want to improve, and watch professionals do it, and watch a really wide array, because everyone will do it differently, and lots and lots of people will do it completely differently. Some people will do it wrong, but it's the way that they were taught. But you can pick up quite a lot from that. And if you are going to do it, so if you're going to watch something like, say you watch the Olympic dressage test, focus on one thing specifically. So, and I don't mean one movement, I mean one thing that the rider does in that movement. So let's say Piaf, focus on the hands and focus on nothing else. And then you will start to pick things up. You won't see much at first. And then as you start to kind of be like, oh, wait, no, I see what you're doing. Then you start to build it up, and then you start to see similarities across the board. But that's what keeps me motivated. Confidence is a tricky one, because like any muscle, you have to plug away at it. But I will say that if you're not going up to your horse very often, I would imagine, again, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself when you are going up. So try and build awareness. If you are doing that, try and build awareness of it, and just take it really slowly. Again, so I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but celebrate the tiny wins. Honestly, celebrate those tiny wins. And I mean, celebrate them big style, and be proud of yourself, and start to build that pride in yourself for going up, for doing something tiny. So for me, I'm a confidence coach, I'm a sports psychologist, mindset coaching is what I do. And yet probably 3 years ago, I think, I'm not sure it was 2 years ago, but not very long ago, in the recent past, I had really bad anxiety just tacking my horse up. Like I would literally be sat in his stable for a normal ride with my little back flower remedies rescue remedy spray, like dousing myself in it. If I could have drunk it out the bottle, I probably would have. Honestly, my anxiety was so bad with regards to even just getting on him, that I just couldn't cope. So I took a minute to take the pressure off. But it can happen to all of us. And it's about being kind to yourself and not pressurizing yourself, and not, comparison is another really, really bad one that knocks us back quite a lot. And they say comparison is the thief of joy, and they're absolutely right, because we compare ourselves to others, and we compare ourselves to ourselves as well, which is something that not many people talk about. So I've come from competing, well, not competing, but I've come from working to a really high level, and it's so hard to be like, no, but we should be here because I know that we can do this, so I should be doing this, but I'm not. So I have to take a step back and be like, yeah, but look how much better I am compared to a week ago. I'm not really right now, but you know, compared to a month ago, 2 weeks ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever. Comparison videos are a great tool, because you can sit there and look and be like, oh my God, look at the change that I have made in myself.
I love them. I love comparison videos. It's been my big win this year.
Yeah,
You don't see it. You just don't see it. And then you look back and think, oh my gosh, yeah, actually, look how, and we're not great at saying we've been well as people.
No, we're not. I think as equestrians as well, like, we're even worse at it because you don't want to seem big-headed.
Yeah.
But yeah, confidence wise, I would try to take the pressure off yourself when you go up, and try to focus on doing fun things. And if getting on is something that's causing you issues, then do groundwork and build up slowly to getting on. If asking for canter, asking for trot is causing you confidence issues, walk or just do trot. And there is a lot of stuff you can do in walk. You can do like, honestly, I could do a whole hour session on stuff you can just do in walk. I think I actually did today. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, you could literally spend hours just perfecting the basics. So if you have any anxiety around certain areas, then go right back to basics and focus on those basics.
Yeah, really good. And YouTube, I find with doing eventing, Piggy March has a great blog.
Yes.
It's very raw. It's very raw, but it's very honest. And she shows
it's nice to see, like, kind of under the skin, you know, like not behind the scenes, but kind of in the, of someone at that level. And
she shows the downside as well. She shows the disappointment and everything else. Very, very good. Very good. Grace is just saying her horse is being sent away to schooling over the winter, which makes her feel as though the horse is going to get better, but her riding is going to get worse. And it's just, you can get into that negative mindset spiral, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Sure, you can. You've sent them away for schooling for a reason. So be aware of that. You know, you want him to get better. Why? Okay. So do you feel that your riding will get worse because you're not riding? I'm going to make that as an assumption. I'm going to take that as an assumption. If that's the case, find a way to ride. Learn a horse, or if that's not possible, go to a riding school. There is no shame in going to a riding school for, you know, once a month.
Good point.
Don't put that much pressure on you. If you're not going to get on him and be a perfect rider, so just kind of take it as it comes. But if you want to keep tapping away at your riding, then find a way to do it. Probably, I mean, you could even go on a mechanical horse, you know, like once every 3 months or whatever, so that you are building that strength and that awareness and improving your riding skills without having the horse in it. I was going to say something else and I forgot what it was.
I was going to add that I had a 31-year gap between riding, and it didn't, although I wasn't amazing when I came back into it, I wouldn't say it's a skill that you don't necessarily lose overnight, is what I'm trying to.
And again, be kind to yourself. Be aware of the fact that if you don't ride for 3 months, you're going to be rusty when you get back on. So don't get back on and expect to be Piggy March. But with the right training, he won't outhorse you. So yeah, if he's away for schooling, can you not go down and ride? Because I know that when we used to have stuff in for schooling. That was always something, depending on what it was. If it came in for rebacking and it was because it was like a rearer and it was a small child riding it, then obviously not in the first week. But you should be able to sort of go up and ride and have a lesson with the person schooling him, and that's a good way to kind of, you know, keep tapping into it, and it gives you input into the training that he's having, and it helps you be on board with the training that he's having. So that's something that's worth considering. I know it's not always viable, particularly if they're a long way away, but it is something to consider.
Oh, right, we've actually gone over our time allocation.
Oh, my bad. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. We've had lovely chats. People have been asking questions. So yeah, Grace is just coming and saying yes, you can ride him every other week, but he changes each week and it's quite scary. I bet it is. Yeah. But obviously, like you say, he's been sent to schooling and hopefully for the better. So yeah, you'll get there. Like, don't be too hard on yourself. I think that's the main thing, isn't it? Don't be kind. If you wouldn't say something to your best friend, don't say it to yourself. Yeah, we do say it to ourselves, though, don't we? Oh, I know. True, very true. So no, I'm just going quickly through. Katie, haven't got a date for the op yet. Said a minimum 6 up to 12 months. And that you'll be joining the Pony Club kids at the yard for games. I think that's another point. Like, people are saying it's a really good idea with like the online gym corner. Just to remember that it's a hobby and that it is. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Yeah, we have fun with our horses, don't we? That's the main thing. An expensive hobby to not enjoy. Yeah, they really are. Bless them. Bless their little hearts. But no, thank you very much, guys. We tried to keep it to an hour, but that was really, Shireen, thank you as always for your time. Thank you for having me, and thank you for coming. Speaking to you. Shireen will be hopefully a regular slot if I can persuade her once a month to come on and chat to us about anything that you guys want to talk about. So thank you everybody for joining and have a wonderful evening. Shireen, have you got any last words for the group? No, I'm going to go get my dinner. It's bedtime, Shireen. It's bedtime right now. No, it's dinner time. I'm not eating yet. No, thank you for coming. I really appreciate everyone coming. It's nice to see people here, and that people want to listen to me witter on for an hour. That's always a bonus. Yeah, and stay motivated over winter, guys. And I'm sure with the team vibe, we'll come up with some ideas to kind of get everybody involved to keep that motivation going. Yeah, wait, someone special wants to know. She doesn't. Where's the little flu? Someone special wants to come into that. Do you want to join Team Vibe? Come on in. Be like the doggy ambassador. I'm going to bite you. Bless her. She's the sweetest dog as well. She's so sweet. Puppy eyes. Right, guys, we'll let you all go off and enjoy your evening. Thanks again for joining, and have a good one.